Sidney Powell confirmed that there is a tsunami in favor of Trump in her recent tweet. In the latest move, President Donald Trump decided to fire 4 high-profile globalists and Warhawks members from the Defense Policy Board. Big tech plays a vital role in suppressing information and steal the election. Sidney Powell confirmed that there is a tsunami in favor of Trump. In a recent tweet replying to the question, "Is the tide turning toward Trump?" Sidney Powell answered that, "Yes, but actually it was always a tsunami in favor of Trump. The evil media, big tech, and the left conspired to make the American people believe otherwise, to cover their massive fraud." This answer came after she filed a 104-page and a 75-page lawsuits in Georgia and Michigan. It is a massive bombshell to both states, which can overturn the election result for President Trump. We need to wait to see how the case proceeds. The Trump administration removed globalists and Warhawks members from the Defense Policy Board. In the latest move, President Donald Trump decided to fire 4 high-profile globalists and Warhawks members from the Defense Policy Board. The list includes Madeleine Albright, Henry Kissinger, Jane Harman, and Eric Cantor. We need to note that Madeleine Albright is known for bribing North Korean dictators with U.S. cash in a failed peace agreement, and also the person who once argued that killing 500,000 Iraqi children was a good foreign policy move. Big tech plays a vital role in suppressing information and steal the election. The U.S. 2020 election is the massive agenda of big tech. More and more evidence about election fraud is coming out and being revealed. President Donald Trump once tweeted, "The 2020 election is the most corrupt election in American political history." This can't be achieved without the huge support from big tech including Google, Facebook, and Twitter. Many have been warning about this before, but no one could have imagined how massive it is. Right after attorney Sidney Powell filed lawsuits in Georgia and Michigan against the election fraud yesterday, Twitter flagged a link to Sidney Powell's election lawsuit as potentially unsafe. Also, after the public hearing in Pennsylvania yesterday on election fraud, Twitter immediately blocked the personal account of Senator Doug Mastriano, who organized the election integrity hearing. Since the 2020 election, Twitter is active in heavily censoring election news, especially about election fraud. This not only violates freedom of speech, but also drags down the public trust on social media. Twitter prevents people from seeing massive election fraud and support to cover up the mess. Right after such actions from Twitter, users call Twitter as Nazi-inspired censorship. Right after mainstream media claimed that Biden is projected president-elect, all the tweets related to election irregularities became the target for censorship. The 2020 U.S. election witnessed the collective effort, a handshake between these 3 big tech companies in order to control the result of the election. In a recent interview with Tucker from Fox News, Dr. Robert Epstein, a psychologist and search engine expert, shared what he found from his research. Google could have shifted a minimum of 6 million votes in one direction. This is just a minimum number that he's confident about. Google search results were strongly biased in favor of liberals and Democrats. This was not true on Bing or Yahoo. He also explained what seemed to be a smoking gun. They found that, in a period of days when the vote reminder on Google's homepage was being sent only to liberals, not one of our conservative field agents received a vote reminder during those days. Facebook, a giant social media, is now more active on censorship and manipulating than ever before. They curtail the circulation of news from right-leaning media while promoting mainstream media news. Especially, Facebook is trying to suppress the media sources in their favor. This looks exactly like a communism way. According to a report from Daily Wire, Facebook made an emergency change to its algorithm post-election to tamp down on news and posts from some sites and pages, identified by the New York Times as mostly right-leaning sources from spreading what the platform deemed to be election misinformation. Many Facebook employees saw that news stories from right-leaning outlets and pages on instances of voter fraud, miscounted ballots, and other election irregularities, mistakes, and misconduct were some of the most popular articles on the platform. According to Facebook employees, this change was a part of break glass plans Facebook had spent months developing for the aftermath of a contested election. It resulted in a spike in visibility for big mainstream publishers like CNN, The New York Times, and NPR, while posts from highly engaged hyper-partisan pages, such as Breitbart and Occupy Democrats, became less visible. In fact, prior to the 2020 U.S. election, Dr. Robert Epstein once testified to warn about the big tech's power to influence the election.
If on Election Day in 2016, if Mark Zuckerberg, for example, had chosen to send out a go vote reminder, say just to Democrats, and no one would have known if he had done this, that would have given that day an additional at least 450,000 votes to Democrats. And we know this without doubt because of Facebook's own published data, because they did an experiment that they didn't tell anyone about during the 2010 election. They published it in 2012. It had 60 million Facebook users involved. They sent out a go vote reminder, and they got something like 360,000 more people to get off their sofas and go vote who otherwise would have stayed home. The point is, I don't think that Mr. Zuckerberg sent out that reminder in 2016. I think he was overconfident. I think Google was overconfident. All these companies were. I don't think he sent that out. Without monitoring systems in place, we'll never know what these companies are doing. In 2020, you can bet that all of these companies are going to go all out, and the methods that they're using are invisible, they're subliminal, they're more powerful than most any effects I've ever seen in the behavioral sciences, and I've been in the behavioral sciences for almost 40 years. 2020, if all these companies are supporting the same candidate, there are 15 million votes on the line that can be shifted without people's knowledge and without leaving a paper trail for authorities to trace.
Now America witnesses how much big tech influences their life. Amidst the legal battles and lawsuits going on right now in the 6 key battleground states, there will be more shocking truths revealed. Stay tuned.